I call her Mama. She's my grandmother, a Philly woman through and through, a matriarch who has raised five very successful children. She's a tiny woman, my grandmother. Well, small in stature, but big in love and family. I was in need of family that night. I just found out that my paternal grandfather passed away. I was a college student, all of 18, 19 years old, still finding myself and my place at a college many miles from home. I was in a version of that play, Cabaret, and it was a huge deal for me. I was stepping outside of my comfort zone. And it was an even bigger deal because this was the first time that she, my maternal grandmother, would get to see me dance in person. It was opening night, and I was in a raw place. But I got on stage and did my thing. And cabaret can be a little risque, so I was nervous to see if she would like it. After I finished, I went out and gave her a hug. She wrapped the same arms around me that had no doubt carried my mother through many of life's moments. She wrapped those arms around my shoulders and spoke life into me. With her wispy, gentle voice, she mused, "Ah, watching you up there reminded me of Josephine Baker." I smiled and laughed and thanked her. I didn't know who this Josephine Baker was, but I would find out. When I started to research Josephine Baker, I was instantly connected and flattered that my grandmother thought I embodied her essence. I hold Josephine Baker's story, her life and her activism, and everything she was as an icon and a person really close to my heart. She's become a guiding star for me in so many ways, so much so that before I went to grad school, I got a Josephine Baker quote tattooed on my leg. "Art is an elastic sort of love." That's the quote. "Art is an elastic sort of love." I started dancing when I was very young. My parents signed me up to take dance classes from the time I was 3 until the time I was around 16. I took tap, jazz, ballet, hip hop, things like that. Dance, in a way that I didn't know how to put words to until I was older, was a way to communicate. I had a hard time expressing my feelings with others when I was growing up, especially with people outside of my family. I was much quieter and shyer than I am now. I was a people pleaser. I would have all of these pent up feelings that I didn't know what to do with. I felt really crazy being so emotional. I felt like I was a crazy person because I felt so much. And while dance was challenging for me, it gave me a way to embody my feelings. I just felt good at it. In other aspects of art, I've become good, but dance was instinctive. Even when I had to work hard to get a particular step, asking my body to do certain things felt easy. It felt like a part of me that I could access. And with all of that, my relationship with dance is really complicated. As a Black girl, I grew up in spaces that were really white. The few times that I did interact with Black teachers, those interactions really stuck with me. But dance culture, especially white dance culture, as a Black girl, it's hard. There are parts of that, like body type, that really shaped my self-image in not so great ways. So there became this dichotomy of my body feels really instinctive when I move and when I dance, but my self-image was really shaped by being part of a dance culture where the idea was to be thin and white. So as much as it is instinctive to my body, it also stuck with me in really weird ways. I feel most at home in dance when it's just me in the movement. In many ways, when my mom spoke Josephine Baker into my spirit, she enacted a movement inside of me. When I researched her, I was drawn to the fact that Josephine Baker was such an icon, but she was also such a perfectly imperfect person. She was deeply vulnerable. She was both an artist and an activist. And at that point in my life, I was struggling with my identity and what it meant to be a Black woman in white art spaces. I was struggling with how my identity informed my art. But seeing the way that Josephine Baker navigated that was so meaningful to me. Art is an elastic sort of love. The art always comes back to you. There are days when art is so hard and so fraught and so difficult. And then something happens and it snaps you back into knowing that you are following your path. When my grandmother spoke Josephine Baker over me, she spoke to the soul of who I could be. She gave me permission to be messy and beautiful and courageous and political. She gave me the story of a woman who was something of her own freedom, something of a movement. When my mom gifted me with Josephine Baker, she gave me permission to start my own movement.
And now, a poem. In the spirit of the artists who came before, of the creators who created a path for me, designed a way for me to create, for me to write and sing, to paint and move in the spirit of the genius orators, wordsmiths, poets, and actors, in the spirit of the directors and designers, the musicians and image capturers who told our stories and made it their mission to sing our glory, to dance our tears and our triumphs, to paint our fears and our rise up, our coming in, and our processing of our collective community love, our collective community trust in the spirit of the artists and creators who came before and the ones who were bold enough to center us. We move with you in mind. We create with you on our hearts. With your spirit reverberating through our souls, you are the reason behind the art, beneath the message. You are literal goals, and we persevere and push through, and we inspire entire generations together for this elastic sort of love, snapping us back and forth in a world that isn't always ready to understand or accept us, can be grueling and complicated, can challenge everything we think we know about who we are. But a constant that hasn't changed is the majesty of our movement and the fact that you created and then elevated the bar. So, in the spirit of the creatives and the artists who came before, who created space, we fight through and we will hold open the door. Yes, we will lift and inspire, encourage, and elevate. For you gave us permission, for you reminded us to create.